Hey everybody, this is Nicole. Welcome back for another process video. This is another video here with the May hip kits. I'm still just finishing off a couple more pages I had done with the May hip kit. So I really wanted to use there's a lot of pink paisley in the May kit, and I really wanted to use these chipboard frames. So what I did is I just backed all the chipboard frames onto some white cardstock. I had done the other little ones prior to this video, and I'm just doing the same thing with the bigger one. And the reason I did that was because there's adhesive on the back, and I knew I wanted to play around a little bit where I was going to put them. So, I mean, it's not necessarily to do that. If I had planned out a little bit better, I guess they could just be shoved right on the page. But I wanted to be able to move them around and kind of lift things up. I wasn't sure if I was going to layer anything underneath the frames or not, so adding that cardstock kind of helped me do that. And I've just had these pictures here of my daughter goofing around at a baseball game about a couple weeks ago, and that sounded really Canadian. Anyway, they printed wrong on my selfie. I had them set up wrong. So it was actually perfect. They fit in those frames really, really well. And just like you saw there, adhered them directly to the photo and then just used my scissors to trim them off. So yeah, that kind of worked out good. Otherwise, those photos I probably would have thrown out, just tossed in the garbage because they were half cut off. And that's what I get for not checking my setting on my selfie. But anyway, I'm talking about my Canon selfie, by the way. If you don't have one of those little printers, it's it's all I use to print my photos with. But I'm also just punching out some of these circles here in this fun pink paisley citrus bliss paper. I love all the little patterns, and so I thought this would be an easy way to add just a couple pops of pattern in behind those squares. In the end, I don't actually even use any of them, so it was kind of a waste of time, but I'm going to keep them aside for another layout because they're not totally wasted. And then I decided I want to add a little bit of color. I'm going to use this gray polka dot as my background, but I wanted to add just a couple little pops of color along the edge. So I cut off this wood grain here by Chickanity that was in the May kit. And I'm just going to add a couple strips of this paper here. That lemony slice paper is really pretty, and I love the pink on the opposite side of it. So I just kind of cut a couple of random strips. You can see they're not even at all, and I'm just going to layer those there just to bring some of those other colors, the green and the pink there. Bring that in a little bit, and I do the same thing with a little bit of this blue paper here, this kind of ombre paper to bring the blue up into the top part of the layout. So I'm just going to add these here, and later on I'll add stitching to that section, of course, but for now, that's pretty much how I did it. And this is pretty much all I had planned out on this page, and I really didn't grab my embellishments or what I wanted to do beyond using the frames. I knew I wanted to make this kind of grid pattern. So now I really just fuss around a lot with picking what embellishments are going to go where. And I love that these die cuts here in the die cut pack from Pink Paisley have these clear plastic. There's some tags in some different shapes. You can see the flowers down there. And I really wanted to use a lot of those. I kind of like the clear acetate plastic effect over top of the pattern paper. It creates a nice, easy layered effect. So I'm just pulling out a couple of those items. And then I really love these wood veneers that were in the kit this month. They actually fit kind of perfectly on those chipboard frames. So I'm going to use a couple of those. And then I have some other items here you can see just set aside that I might use. I'm not sure how many of them I end up using, but I just kind of pulled out a whole bunch of my favorite things from those packs. And I also have the stickers from the chipboard sticker sheet package, I guess it is. And what I use, excuse me, my craft mat, I just kind of take them off the sticker sheet and stick them down on my craft mat so they're kind of at hand. So at this point, I am just kind of sticking a few things down, which is earlier than normal for me. So that's kind of a plus. This page actually came together quite quickly. I think in all, it was maybe a 45-minute page, which for me is almost a miracle because usually my pages are like 2 hours, which is kind of crazy. But I'm just going to add some washi tape strips. I want some of that darker reddish pink color here beside the photo. And so I'm just tearing off some little bits and playing around with layering things. And one thing, I'm not sure if I cropped it out of the video, but on that tag there, I pop dotted the sunshine. And then the Such Good Times, that clear little arrow embellishment. I actually ran that through my little mini Xyron, and It's the perfect thing actually for embellishments like that, where you have like it's clear and you don't want to see adhesive through the back, and it actually sticks it down really, really well. A lot of liquid glues. I have a clear Tombow that works also, but I find that some things pop off later. So I think the Xyron for me is my number one choice for like vellum or any sort of clear embellishment. Works really, really great. And I really wanted to use these rainbow thickers that were in the kit, and I just didn't, in my other pages that I was doing with the kit, I didn't find the right kind of project. So, but I kind of like the rainbow effect here on the, oh, there's the Xyron there. I didn't cut it out. Anyway, you can see I'm just going to stick that on my tag and kind of make like a title. And of course I have to pop that something on this page. So I'm actually just going to pop this title a little bit, just so it kind of stands out a little bit higher than those chipboard shapes. Now I really like those wood veneers, but they're kind of plain, so I thought I would grab my gelatos, which I don't really use a lot of because I'm not artsy, and I'm just going to rub them on top of the wood veneer, and they actually took the color really, really nicely. I was kind of surprised that it went on as well as it did. The only downside, and you'll see that I have a close-up later I took for you, is that because they're kind of like a crayon in a way, it really rubs into those nooks and crannies on the wood shape. So you have to be careful that you kind of clean out, and you can see that I took my paper piercer there a few times and just kind of tried to clean out some of those rough edges. And then I kind of decided I like what I did there with the two different gelato colors, the two different pinks. And so I actually take my baby wipe and just wipe off all the blue I had on the You Are Mine. And then I decide to kind of do a two-tone blue effect. And so just like the pink one. And I like how that turned out. It was really easy. Just, rub it a little bit with your finger to kind of make it like a bit of an ombre. And honestly, super, super fast to do. And I like how they turned out. That's about as artsy as I get, folks. So if you're here for the artsy version, this is not it. You need to go see Irit or Missy's pages, because they are the artistic girls on the team for sure. And if you aren't following them, you definitely should be, because they're worth a watch. Anyway, I'm just going to use some of that liquid glue and adhere these right to my chipboard shapes. And yeah, I kind of like how those look there on the bottom of the photo. I think that's kind of cute. They kind of almost fit into those little frames perfectly, actually, from side to side. And here I'm just adding some stitching to some of my pieces. I think I added that chipboard Hello Love there from the Pink Paisley chipboard set, and I'm just going to stitch it on with a little bit of stitching, just for kind of a little bit of texture, I guess you could say. And then I really wanted to fill in this frame, and I didn't really have a photo that was going to fit in there nicely, so I ended up peeling off my chipboard, and you can see my cardstock came off too. And then I add one of those tags just in behind there, and layering a couple quick little chipboard pieces, and then I'm going to do some stitching alongside, and the page is pretty much done, I think, at this point. This is actually a pretty simple page for me, which is probably good, because I'm in this rut right now, and I pretty much don't like anything that I've created in the last 2 months. So this one kind of came together really quickly. It was kind of cute. So I just need to get that mojo back. I don't know if anybody out there has it, but send some my way, please. I'm desperate. I tried to do something a little different here, and I like how it turned out, but I really miss my mojo, and I love these products. I just don't know why doing this page, it's nice, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like me. Does that make sense? Do you ever do pages like that where it just doesn't seem like you? Anyway, back to the layout, I guess. I'm just going to add some stamping here from these Chickanity stamps that were in the, I think it was the add-on, the Project Life add-on kit, I think. And they're super cute. I love those stamps. I'm sure those will be ones that I keep in my stash long term. And I'm just going to add a couple drops of mist here. I really like to use Meyer Mist, is my favorite mist. I know a lot of people use Color Shine. Oh, here's my close-ups already. There's that gelato there on the wood veneers, and here's my tag, and you can kind of see those mists, and they're really saturated color, the Meyer Mist, so I really recommend them. They're awesome. If you haven't tried them before, you really should try them out. They're pretty good, and a huge bottle lasts you a long time. Anyway, that's it for my page today. I hope you like it. Thanks so much for stopping by. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And you can always check out more of my work on my blog. And I'll see you guys again next time. Have a good day.